Good morning. It's been said that we are supposed to do something each day that scares us. Today's telling of this story should have me covered from now through, let's say, the end of 5783. HaShanah Tovah. Our ancestors have instructed us to tell the story of Hannah every year at Rosh HaShanah. So here we go. Hannah was the first wife of Elkanah. After years of not being able to conceive a child, and surely feeling great shame about it, Hannah encouraged Elkanah to take a second wife, Peninnah. Peninnah gave birth to several children, but Hannah remained childless. Still, Hannah was Elkanah's favorite, but that did not allay the despair she felt. And more, Peninnah taunted Hannah and humiliated her at every turn. Peninnah was fertile, and she was cruel. Elkanah brought his family on a yearly pilgrimage to Shiloh, the site of the tabernacle, the precursor to the temple. One year, when they arrived at the holy site, Hannah entered and did something no one had ever done before. She silently offered heartfelt prayers to God. She pleaded for a child. Her mouth quietly moved in what we would now recognize as a not so out-of-the-box way of praying. But back in the 1st century BCE, prayer tended to show up more in the form of animal sacrifice. Here was a woman weeping and communicating her pain directly to God, without shame. As described by scholar Alicia Jo Rabbins, Hannah's act was the most radical fertility technology of her time. Hannah begged God, "Give me a child, a male child, and I will dedicate him to you, and he will be your servant." Her prayer was ferocious, the last stop on the train of her despair at being childless. Eli, the priest, couldn't believe his eyes. Hannah's lips moved, but no sound came out that he could hear. The only possible explanation he could come up with for this behavior was that she was drunk. He warned her to sober up. Hannah explained that no, she was not drunk. She was suffering. She was grief-stricken. She was speaking directly to God. Eli accepted this and told her to go in peace and that he hoped that God would grant her prayer. Guess what? Great news for Hannah. She had a son, and she named him Samuel. As promised, when she weaned him, she brought him to the tabernacle so he could live and study under Eli. Samuel grew up to become a great prophet. And we have Hannah to thank for how we pray today, quietly, but sometimes moving our lips, without having to sacrifice anyone's goat. This time of year is complicated, isn't it? Along with the hope and promise of new beginnings, it comes with a bit of sadness for many of us as well. It's tender, transitions, the end of summer, children and grandchildren relentlessly marching toward adulthood faster every year, the memory of 9/11, our innumerable private losses, disappointments, complex feelings we all touch again and again, our gratitude, our grace, it all comes up. At the beginning of the new year, we're encouraged to reflect, to call on ourselves to grow, to forgive ourselves and each other for our wrongdoings. It's a challenge, and it's a relief. Maybe Hannah's story resonates on Rosh HaShanah because it's one where she confronts her most profound pain and shares it with God with abandon. We will not all have our prayers answered as directly as Hannah did, but we do share something with her, something sacred. The time and space to authentically lay bare our deepest truths, privately or with each other, to examine and grapple with them, and to rest in the inevitability of growth and change, the current of life, which steadily carries us on our collective and individual journeys of evolution. A sweet and healthy new year to all of us.